In 2007, if you owned a mobile phone, chances are it was made by Nokia. They controlled around 40% of the global market. Their phones were durable, reliable, engineered to perfection. Inside Nokia, hardware excellence was everything. And for years, that belief made them unstoppable. Then, in January 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone. And the world that Nokia had built started cracking. Quietly, invisibly, irreversibly. But to understand how Nokia fell, you first have to understand how extraordinary its rise really was. This wasn't a technology company born in a Silicon Valley garage. Nokia started in 1865, in Finland, as a paper mill. On the banks of the Nokian Virta River, for a century it made paper, then rubber boots, then cables, then televisions. A company that reinvented itself so many times, reinvention seemed to be in its DNA. In the 1990s, Nokia made the most consequential pivot of all. It sold everything else, focused entirely on mobile phones. The timing was perfect. The execution was flawless. Through the 1990s, Nokia didn't just make phones. It defined what a phone was. The Nokia 3310, the 6310, the N95. Devices so well built they became cultural objects. There is a reason the joke exists: Nokia phones survive everything. Because they did. By 2000, Nokia was the most valuable company in Europe, worth more than the entire Finnish GDP. A rubber boot company from Scandinavia had become the most important technology brand on Earth. 40% of every mobile phone sold globally. Nokia. The engineers in Espoo had achieved something genuinely historic. Then January 9th, 2007, San Francisco. Steve Jobs walked onto a stage and introduced the iPhone. One device. Three things. A widescreen iPod, a revolutionary phone, a breakthrough internet communicator. The audience erupted. The world watched. Inside Nokia headquarters in Espoo, Finland, the reaction was measured. They analyzed it carefully, methodically, thoroughly. The battery was weak. It was expensive. The camera was inferior. It lacked features Nokia already offered on multiple handsets. Technically, they weren't wrong. Every criticism was accurate. But they were asking the wrong questions entirely. They were measuring the iPhone against what Nokia made. They should have been measuring it against what Nokia's customers felt. Because when ordinary people held an iPhone for the first time, they didn't compare battery life. They felt something different, something new, a device that felt alive in their hands, that responded to touch like it understood them, that made the internet feel like it belonged in your pocket. The battlefield had changed completely. The war was no longer about hardware. It was about ecosystem. Apps, developers, user experience, emotional connection. Nokia was still fighting the last war, brilliantly, perfectly, in a battle that no longer existed, and inside Nokia, a quieter danger was already growing. Many engineers knew the truth. Symbian Nokia's operating system was outdated, slow, fragmented, built for a world of physical keyboards and limited screens, extraordinarily difficult to build apps on. While iPhone's iOS invited developers in, Symbian pushed them away. The engineers knew, some said it, in meetings, in memos, in corridors. But admitting Symbian was broken meant admitting the foundation of everything Nokia had built was cracked. And when you are the most powerful company in your industry, you do not tear down your own foundation lightly. So the conversation happened in half measures. Workarounds discussed, patches proposed, alternative operating systems debated internally. Under CEO Olli-Pekka Kallasvuo, the culture had shifted in ways nobody wanted to name. Decisions became cautious. Meetings multiplied. Teams debated endlessly. Risk was avoided at every level. Nobody wanted to be the person responsible for a radical shift that might fail. In a company built on engineering certainty, uncertainty was treated like a threat. There is a word for this in organizational psychology. Psychological safety, the belief that you can speak the truth without punishment. Nokia was losing it. floor by floor, meeting by meeting. The engineers who saw the problem most clearly were the ones least able to say it loudly enough to matter. While Nokia debated internally, the world moved without waiting. In 2008, Google launched Android, open source, free to manufacturers, designed to scale. Samsung adopted it, HTC adopted it, then everyone adopted it. Developers flooded in, apps multiplied by the thousands, then the millions. The ecosystem Nokia had dismissed as irrelevant was becoming the only thing that mattered. Nokia kept refining hardware. The N97, the N8, beautiful devices, running an operating system that felt increasingly like a relic. Customers noticed. First slowly, then all at once. Stephen Elop arrived as CEO in 2010, the first non-Finnish CEO in Nokia's history. He read the situation clearly. In February 2011, he distributed an internal memo to every Nokia employee. The Burning Platform Memo. Imagine you are standing on a burning oil platform. The sea is cold. You must jump. Nokia was the platform. The smartphone revolution was the fire. The memo was honest, courageous, necessary. Elop's answer was Microsoft. Windows Phone, a new operating system, a fresh start. The partnership announced in February 2011. It was a logical decision. It was also too late. By the time Nokia's first Windows Phone device reached shelves, Android had hundreds of millions of users. The App Store had hundreds of thousands of developers. The ecosystem war wasn't just decided. It was over. The collapse was swift and devastating once it began. Market share that had stood at 40% in 2007 fell below 5% by 2012. In 2013, Nokia sold its entire handset division to Microsoft for $7.2 billion. The company that had defined mobile phones for a generation was no longer in the phone business. Microsoft tried. Windows Phone never gained meaningful traction. The handset business written down to almost nothing within 2 years. The Nokia name on phones eventually sold to other manufacturers. A brand that had once meant mobile phones, reduced to a licensing arrangement. 33,000 Nokia employees lost their jobs in the transition. The Finnish government shaken. Communities across Finland affected. The most valuable company in Europe at the turn of the millennium. A footnote by 2015. But here is what history often forgets about Nokia. The handset business died. Nokia itself survived. It pivoted into network infrastructure, into patents, into technology licensing. Today, Nokia's technology powers the 5G networks the world runs on. The engineers who built the world's most reliable phones now build the invisible infrastructure connecting billions of devices. The company that couldn't compete with the iPhone helps power the network the iPhone runs on. There is something quietly magnificent about that. Nokia didn't fall because it didn't see the future. The engineers saw it. Some of them said it. Nokia fell because the organization it had built to dominate one era couldn't move fast enough to survive the next one. Success had made them careful. Caution had made them slow. And in a technological revolution, careful is a strategy for the world as it was, not the world as it is becoming. The greatest threat to any dominant company is never the competitor on the horizon. It is the culture in the building, the meetings that replace decisions, the caution that replaces courage, the success that makes standing still feel safer than moving forward. Nokia had everything: the engineers, the brand, the resources, the global reach. They even had the warning. What they didn't have was an organization brave enough to act on it. That is the lesson Finland gave the world from the banks of the Nokian Virta River. Build the culture before you need it. Because by the time you know you need it, it is already too late to build it.